Hi, everybody. It's Diana. I wanted to talk to you today about, you know, pretending, not really feeling, the term that they use, wearing a mask, not really being yourself. Well, this was me for a very, very long time. I would, wake up in the morning and I would think, oh, do I have to do this again? Just to let you know a little bit about myself, I've been working for a very, very long time. I've had a really colorful background. I've worked in social welfare and I've worked in social services, administering benefits, worked in children's services until, all of that knowledge and all of those skills that I brought from there were used when computer systems for the state were being developed. And so I actually chose to leave that arena and go into the world of IT and project development and software applications. In my first part of my experience and in my job, I got promoted, 7 different times in 7 years with one of the companies that I was at or one of the counties that I worked for. And I loved that job. I truly loved it because I actually felt like I was helping people. And I didn't feel back then that I was wearing as much of a mask, although, I really was. However, it didn't seem that way to me then. When I moved into working for projects and working, like I said, on large scale, very multi-million dollar projects in software development, creating an application for the state, I started, testing the application, using the knowledge that I had obtained through all of my past work. And, I did very well at it. I excelled quite well at it. I moved around and did all kinds of different jobs within that industry until I, came out to be a senior project manager. I was climbing the chain and learning as much as I could about software development life cycle. But I got to that place, and I'm not saying that you guys need to do what I did. But what I am saying is that you probably feel a lot like I felt in my job every day, at least with the inside feelings. For me, the job that I was doing wasn't my path. I had moved away from my path. I went down a new one, and I'm okay with it. Every bit of what I have done and what I've lived, what I've been through has made me who I am today, and it's invaluable experience. But I learned a lot about myself along the way. And what I noticed most was that I would wake up every day and it was just like, oh, do I have to do this again? There was just this anxiety in the pit of my stomach, and I would be worrying, getting ready for work, having my coffee, thinking, oh, I've got to go do this and I've got to go do that, and this anxiety, the traffic, commuting, the expectations, the rush, 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 the deadlines, the schedule, just all of it. And I was not experiencing any real inner joy and peace with what I was doing. I had realized that I had moved away from some of the things that were the most important thing to me, the thing that I had been doing all of my life, being gravitated to the people who might have been alone in a room, looking sad, nobody talking to them. I didn't like school. I didn't like high school. High school was like, to me now, is a lot like high school. It's join this clique or join that clique, and you're not accepted into any others. Well, guess what? I can't fly that way. I would go to high school, and when I learned that my friends from grammar school and from junior high school wouldn't be friends with me if I was not, or if I had liked someone else or a different group, I couldn't deal with that. I didn't want to deal with that. So I would just go home. And I had one really, really good friend outside of high school, and that's who I spent most of my time with. Sadly, she is no longer with us, and that's another story to tell. But she was the one that was similar to me, that didn't want to pick sides, didn't want to. I liked everybody in the groups. There was, well, let me rephrase that. I liked a lot of the people that were in those groups. A lot of them were my friends that came from grammar school and came from high school. But they went off and they went to go do their other things. And I felt this, non-acceptance thing going on if I wanted to be friends with them, and I still wanted to be friends with them. So I just chose to not. And, many of these people are my friends today, having our class reunions, once again, getting to know one another. But, I'm 30 years outside of high school or more, and we don't have those things going on as much anymore. And if some of those friends do have those things going on, I'm not close enough to them to witness it. But I enjoy their posts, and I enjoy hearing about their families and all of those things. Now, getting back to the part where I said I was pretending, it started out by feeling frustration, feeling like something just wasn't right. I kept saying to myself, gosh, this can't be what life is all about. There just has to be more. The whole idea that I just didn't feel happy. I didn't feel like I was doing what my soul's purpose was. And I was, I'll use the word desperately, trying to find what that purpose was. I felt frustrated, I felt angry, and they would come out in different places. It would come out at my family, at my husband. I would, every now and again even snap at my elderly mother for, trying to tell me something to do. In other words, my fuse was so very short. And that's when I realized that, I had been working, and I'm sure all of you have been working through life, and you've come to a point in your life where you feel that you're very awakened, that you're very aware of things, and you're aware of yourself and who you are. However, there's still something missing. I'm not going to suggest for you what that is. I'd like to help you find out what that is. But I was really concerned with how I was feeling. And again, getting back to what I noticed was that I was the common denominator in my life. I saw patterns in my life. I saw reactions in my life where I was the only one present in the familiarity of it, which meant it's all about me. It's all about how I was responding, how I was reacting, how I was behaving based on some hidden trigger that, some hidden layer that needed to come out, that needed to be resolved. And that's what I mean about pretending and wearing a mask. We're all doing it. We're all human. And society has helped us do this along the way. Everything we read, not everything, a lot of what we read and a lot of what we hear tells us what to do, who we should be, what we should and shouldn't say, what we should and shouldn't buy, what we should and shouldn't wear. I mean, name it. There's somebody out there telling you what to do. And a lot of it is for them to make money. They're out there to make a business, right? To make a profit. So on the other side of a lot of this, hard work and realization, I got to this point where something's got to give. I'm not enjoying this. I'm not enjoying life. And it wasn't just because of my career. It was in general. My whole being kept screaming to me. It's not outwardly. It's inside. You feel it. You hear it. The body is even talking to you. Something has to change. I'll bet you guys are just like me, going out and reading and seeking information, trying to figure out just what's going to work with you, just how it's going to click with you. When are you going to come across that one person that resonates with you, who actually can teach you how to do this? I have learned a lot in my life. I have been through a lot of things, a lot of traumatic things, the trials and tribulations of life. I don't think there's one person on the planet that hasn't been through something. Some are going to be less traumatic than others, and some are going to be more traumatic than others. It's not a contest. We're not in competition with one another. However, I have truly learned myself, and I am actively peeling away all of those layers. And I would love to help you peel away some of your layers by teaching you how to find more inner joy. And find isn't the right word. Maybe to experience more inner joy every day, throughout every week, throughout every month, and throughout every year that we have on this precious planet and in our precious lives. There would have been a lot of feelings that I had, and not that I don't experience them now, but I'm much quicker to recognize them and move on from them than I was in the past. So being frustrated with yourself, judging others, judging yourself, judging your own judgment of yourself, feeling anxiety, feeling that stomach pit, that pain in the pit of your stomach, just not able to get rid of it. I think there was part of me that was losing connection to source and losing the faith of the connection. Now, this group is open to everything. There is no belief system, unless it's to harm others, that's not accepted here. Is I can use source or the universe or God. They're all interchangeable. And no matter what your path is and where those words lead you, I respect that. And we're all to respect everybody in here as well. So I guess the point of what I'm talking about is there isn't one person walking around that isn't wearing some sort of mask. But we want to reveal what that mask has to say underneath. What does your real soul want to say? Who is your true spirit and your authentic self? I think every one of us wants to be that person. That young person when we were carefree and wild and didn't have the cares in the world about this adult responsibilities and obligations and just, all of those things, go to school, graduate, go to college, graduate, get a job, find a spouse, have children, keep working, retire, and then die. I mean, that's basically my description of what society is teaching us today. And that's not enough for me anymore. I don't know if it's enough for you, but it wasn't enough for me. So I decided to make some huge changes in my life. And those changes that I've been making over the last several decades in order to arrive at this point today are all meant to help you. The divine gifts that I've been given are from Source, and my purpose in life is to pass them on to you. With all that being said, if anything of what I've said resonates with you, private message me. Reach out to me now. I imagine that there are some layers that you have that you might like to uncover and live with more inner joy, with more peace and contentment. Reach out. Let's have a conversation. Let's see if we actually connect. Let's see if we can be good partners together and just have a conversation. So thank you all very much for listening, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.